Let's make 3 different intros to the same video. Check. Record 4 hours of video footage, talks, tutorials, explanations, unboxing, and time lapses. Check. And slam it all down into 15 minutes. Shit. What's going on, guys? I'm Unsub223 and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a brand new video and I'm pretty excited about it. The product we're going to be talking about is something we've never brought to the channel before, something I've never worked with, never experienced. I've never actually owned one of these, and I've never actually done anything with them. So the product we're talking about today is 3D printers and 3D print. Typically TPU is what we're actually talking about. A flexible material. This is a Gopro mount for one of my FPV drones, and it's a flexi bendable material. It's got a lot of give, it's got a lot of play on it. It doesn't break, it doesn't rip. Flying FPV drones, I use TPU mounts for my GoPros, for my antennas, for my cameras. So I mean, it starts to add up over some time. Some of these, like this one was like $15 and then another $3 something for shipping. That's almost $20 just for this. Then we got another one right here. These are just some purple antenna mounts that go on standoffs. These were like $8 and then another $3 for shipping. This one's actually off my reverb that's getting worked on right now. This one's a receiver antenna and a Vtx Antenna Holder, and this also kind of sits on the standoffs on the back of the drone. Say this was a bottom plate, this kind of sits right here on some standoffs. So I use a lot of these, and it starts to add up over time, and out of all the ones that I bought, I kind of added it up, and I'm like, I've already spent enough money to buy my own printer. So today, that's exactly what we did. Right here, Kingroon. I could barely fit this thing in the picture. I went ahead and I bought my first 3D printer, and a couple of reasons why I purchased one. I got a friend that his 3D printer is somewhere around like 2,000 going towards 3, and that was before the upgrades he put on it. So it can be a very expensive thing to start and to get into, but with the way technology is kind of upgrading, prices of things are going down. So that was the main reason for this purchase. This printer is actually only $129. Only $129 right now on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below, and I'm not an affiliate of Amazon or the company that is supplying this. I'll just put the link there, that way you can find it. I will also put a link to this right here. I've never experienced any of this, but I do my research, and I do a lot of research before I go ahead and buy something. So what it came down to was price, also with quality. So I got a $129 printer. We're gonna see how that works out. And I got some, I think this was like $15 or $17, some TPU. So let's go ahead and open the box and kind of see what comes with this, how long it takes me as a brand new newbie to the hobby, how long it takes me to actually get this set up and running and kind of get my first print out. And then from there, I plan on just going straight to TPU. I'm not going to bother, with the nylon or the PLA or the ABS. I'm not going to bother with all that stuff right now. I'm just going to make sure that the printer actually works, and then we're just going to jump right into TPU. So hopefully within a couple hours or maybe tomorrow, we can get something printed out. have already started messing with Kira a little bit. That's only because, like I said, I do my research. So I've gone through that, and I have figured out some ways to kind of import models and go through some of the specs, but I'm not too sure about everything, so we're just going to see as we go along, and hopefully you guys find this somewhat informational, and you can print almost anything. It's fucking awesome. So yeah, let's go ahead, let's open this box, and all the different videos I've watched by different people, kind of just put together like a little spreadsheet, a little list in my mind. I want to make sure I go over and I get everything exactly the way I want it to be. So let's open this box, let's see what comes inside. I'll set a timer, see how long that gets me to put together. Then we'll get a printout, and obviously I gotta do what everybody else has to do and run a time lapse for a print, you know, because that's like the coolest thing. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let's get started. Alright, so I pretty much had to move to the floor because the desk isn't big enough. Hopefully the printer's not that big. First thing I should probably do is go through this whole manual. Because it definitely seems like something I should probably do, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just take out the pieces and obviously separate what's what, and see that everything's actually here. According to this diagram, we should have some snips, a wrench, some hex wrenches, some screws, filament holder, TF card, power cable, power box, 3D printer kit, and PLA filament. Alright, seems like we got our PLA right here, so I believe this should have preloaded models right on it, so one of the first things I will do is probably just print right off this to make it easy. It's funny, I actually really like these. I did a review a couple weeks ago, or maybe even months ago by now, I can't remember, but I actually got the same exact pair from a kit off Amazon. That was a soldering iron kit, and you know, you can kind of tell a little bit by the wear over here. We have our hex wrenches. I do actually use these quite a bit, and I actually really do like. We have our cable to our computer. All these set aside right over there, which to our computer. And we have a 3D printed 3 screws they were talking about. It's a 3D printed filament holder. Power supply is built in. Fan on off. Fan automatically works according to working temperature. So we have some power specifications there. There should be the rest of this cable somewhere in here. And that's the rest of the power cable. Now onto the printer. From what I've seen, this comes out in 2 pieces, but they're obviously connected. So as soon as I take them out, I'm just going to move the box and set them down. So everything looks pretty good, except for this tiny little piece right here. Hopefully this little piece ain't important or anything because I have no idea where this would go. It does look like it has a couple little hooks on it to clip onto something. And then we have a another 3D printed part right here. A little bit of stringing on it. Let's get this together, and overall it doesn't look too bad though. Alright, so now. Alright guys, so we have the printer. I do have to say it was a little bit tedious. It was fairly easy. It was just these T-nuts right here. They have to slide into position, and it's a little tough. And it's not that it's hard or anything, but it was just a little bit of a hassle. I kind of had to like sit in here with some tweezers and make sure that it was nice and straight, and then make sure this one was nice and straight, and then slide it down. And so it's not that it was hard or anything, but it did take a little bit of time to switch between 110 and 220. I left it on the 110. I guess we'll see. As long as it prints like that, it should be fine. Now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and turn it on and see what happens. I do know that one of the first things we are going to do is a piece of paper. So here we are at the menu, and we'll just go ahead and throw this off. So as soon as you press the leveling button, the bed will actually automatically move into position for the bottom left corner. And as you'll see in a second, my Z-axis was like so offset that it actually kind of like slammed into the bed and pushed it down a little bit. So I noticed that right away, and it kind of just like informed me, all right, well, this is not really dialed in too good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys, I'm new, I'm a beginner, but I honestly think that there's a possibility this bed might be warped, and that's kind of towards the center. If I have the center sitting at about 2-3 millimeters away from the build plate, or even closer, doesn't really matter. If I try to get it anywhere close to the center, all of the corners are like 5 millimeters below. So I can't really I can't force the center of the bed down lower and have the corners all lined up. So it kind of came to like, all right, well, maybe if I stretch out the springs on the corners, that will kind of like force the edges up a little bit more, but it really wouldn't do much unless I kind of like tried to bend the plate in the middle. So the best I could do is I print pretty much in the center of the build plate, and to the left side I try not to go pretty much past the last O or into the N of the word Kingroon on the right side, just as, I mean, it's something with the belt and the clips that go across the bar on the top. It's almost as if the clips create too much space from traveling like smoothly on the rail. So when the actual nozzle head moves all the way to the right of the bed, it actually forces it to like push up probably like a good 2 millimeters. Alright guys, so here's a little bit of an update so far. So I have pretty much everything working. It seemed to be going great, and I went and I printed my first panel last night. It stopped right around halfway. I was actually just leaving the room, just as I heard it, and it didn't make a particular sound like something bad, but just I heard it stop moving. So I came back and checked, and what happened was the nozzle came down, and right here where this last piece kind of protrudes out, the nozzle came down, and it almost kind of like stuck into that, like kind of went down further than it did on pretty much the whole rest of the print. And it didn't move after that. It stayed right there, and it continued to pour out more filament through the nozzle. I stopped that, took that off. I mean, the rest of it looks good except for the bottom. I didn't have the plate quite hot enough. The right side actually looks pretty good. You can tell by some of the lines it didn't kind of form together as well. But the rest of it, I mean, it's got a real nice finish to it. It's real smooth. I mean, it definitely came out pretty nice. Right before I started that, obviously I went through, I checked the whole machine, and a couple weird things about mine. When I first got it, this cable right here was not plugged in to the filament motor. I don't want to move it, to plug that in. I wasn't too sure if I was supposed to or not, but whatever this is, the x-axis, or the y, it's got like play, like up and down in it. Not that it just like, you know, if I touch it, it'll move, but I can push it down and I can push it up. I'm not too sure if that has something to do with the problem I'm having, because it seems like that, along with maybe the bed not being level, not that I didn't level it the best I could, but the bed might actually be warped. When I go across, say I start here on this side, I'll be, you know, that distance. As I get towards the center, it'll get tighter. It'll stay perfect. Then once I get back over here, it'll come back out. And I go and adjust the spacers, and even just putting a little bit over here, a little bit over there, a little bit over there, a little bit over there, keeping it even. As soon as I raise it a little bit, the nozzle's like smashed into the bed. So maybe something with my arm or the bed is not perfectly reliable, but it seems to be working decently. So I started a second print, and mind you, here's the first print. So the second one came out just as good. This one stopped in the same exact place pretty much. And once again, it's like right at 50%. Actually, being just my G code holds the nozzle right there. Not too sure. This PLA, it's not enough to print anything, and besides for that, I did find it was broken right here after the first filament didn't have anything to push the rest of it through. It also didn't have anything to hold it there, so that's kind of why I thought it just kept pouring out. And bend or break again, and obviously, second print came out just as well as the first. Except for the bottom. I did heat up the bed a little bit more, so the bottom actually does like this, and printers like this. It doesn't even have to be electrical, it could be anything. When you give me a manual or a book, pretty much just like this one, woohoo, that's super cool. And then you tell me, can you let me know parts that, you know, this is supposed to give me an extra part, and it's an extra part. Like, if this is not an extra part and it needs to go somewhere, it doesn't tell me anywhere in the manual. So This could very well just be an extra screw. But if it is an extra screw, can you please let me know that? That way I'm not sitting here going crazy like, oh shit, where's this supposed to go? Got a new cabinet you're selling on Amazon or whatever the case may be. If you're putting extra screws in the package, correct print. I don't know why it skips around sometimes and it doesn't want to actually extrude the filament correctly. I mean, I have it on 100% extrusion, so I don't really see why it wouldn't work. Kind of looks like my shark's already kind of fucked up. I almost want to cancel it, but whatever. I mean, there's only so much PLA I have left, and I mean, most of it looks like it's coming out pretty good, but it's more than likely already fucked up. And I probably should have just. So we'll just see what we come out with in the end. Start fresh. Yeah, I'm gonna go have a cigarette and come back in 10 minutes. See where this is at. Alright guys, so it's been about 10 minutes. Coming back, looking at it. Seems like it's doing pretty good. It says it's about halfway done, 58%. It's not looking too bad. It's looking decent, I guess. I don't know what the hell that big plastic piece is. Maybe it's a support. I don't know. This was actually supposed to be probably about the size of the word Kingroon, but I shrunk it down about 25% just so that way I could save some time and save some filament. I kind of wanted to try to use the rest of this. I have this printing at like a 1.2, I believe. 20% infill. The walls are 1.2. If you're thinking that my switch is messed up, no, the screen actually has a reddish tint right now. It's just the part that I'm at in, like in a submarine or something. First successful print.
Blaskowitz, got a heads up for you. Looking at the engineering map, there seems to be a defense system guarding the nuclear warhead stockpile.
Looks like it just finished. Alright. So, what I am going to do now is pull the extra filament off the nozzle. Need to go ahead and set the fan, have that cool down, and then we will go ahead and also turn off all the preheats. It's still reading that it wants it at 205. It's cooling down right now, 102.99. So we'll just go ahead and kill that. We don't need any heat on that, and we will kill the 63 on the bed, which it was set to 60, but it was at 63. So, all right, and we're just gonna wait like I don't know, 5 minutes, and then hopefully peel that off, no problem. Alright, so Kira is now open. I was using 4.1, but
it seemed like I was having a bunch of problems with that. Kind of still seems like I have problems with that, but either way. So this is the We'll open this one. Looks like we are at 76%, and I've probably got about a meter of filament, a little bit less left than that. So yeah, should make it just about the way there. And we have the model loaded up. This is what it was supposed to look like. Hopefully it looks something like that when it is done. As I said, I did shrink this down. Why does... Alright, so now bed temperature 43 out of 0, extruder 30 out of 0. I think we're pretty good to go ahead and peel off our shark here. That's pretty stuck on there. I'm just gonna take the whole bed and we'll just pop this out right here. Alright, so hopefully we don't break it or anything, but here's my first completed print. It doesn't look too bad, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go nice and easy because I really don't want it to break. Alright. Wow, that actually looks pretty cool. So, taking a look at it, it does look pretty good. I do see, so obviously, some stringing and stuff. But the overall actual quality, see, I could just peel a little bit of this right off. Yep. Seems like the head almost did like a second outside layer. So usually with stuff like this, I would probably just sand that off. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it off. Just trying to go nice and easy. I don't want to snap it, but... Alright. So, now that that's pretty good, we can just go ahead and peel off a little bit of the stringing. Not too bad. For those of you who don't know, most of you probably do, but even from a beginner standpoint, I I pretty much know that heat can get rid of the stringing. I don't recommend using something along the nature of what I'm about to use to get rid of the stringing, but you definitely can. Alright guys, so here's my first successful print on my Kingroon 3D printer. I have to say it does look pretty good. It didn't come out perfect, but that's alright. You know, there's a couple little notches down here, you know, that could kind of be filed off and kind of touched up. I didn't know that it actually did this when when I started printing it out, because I just picked it because I like fishing. Out of all the sample models in there, this kind of seemed like the ideal one for me. It's a keychain actually. I did print this in about 25% less, 25% less size than what it usually comes in. As you can see, I used a raft, a skirt on this, and the full size would probably be closer to the actual size of the letters, with the shark itself going from like the end of the K to the O. So basically the shark would be a little bit bigger than the skirt left on there, and the skirt would be a little bit bigger, but as you can see, I had only a little bit of PLA left, so I've only got like half a meter of that. But I'm pretty happy with it. I'm happy with the quality. It looks decent. This was my own G-code that I created, and it seems to work out pretty well, especially for a beginner like me. I'm just brand new to this, and within my third print, I'm able to print, which I do have my computer up and running over here. I only know, obviously, starting off brand new, I don't know. I basically learned from videos and doing my research. So this is Kira 4.0. I do have to change the, I just inputted a Persa printer so that way I could go through some settings and check it out. I've never used any of this, any Kira before, or anything else for that matter, so just gonna see how easy this is. I did import a model from Thingiverse, and I'm just gonna go through some settings and hopefully work something out. Here we go. A custom model. So it says we are gonna set this. Alright. So let's go ahead and do that. So I didn't know this at the time, but apparently I can only use Kira 4.0 if I want to save a model to the SD card and then use the SD card to print. I cannot use Kira 4.0 plugged into my printer directly for some reason, and I still have not been able to find out why. But I am able to edit models and add supports in such ways of Kira 4.0. I just have to use the SD card. If I need to print directly from my computer like I like doing, I have to actually use Kira 15.4.3. And although I can continuously keep updating Kira, I have it at a point where it's working very well right now, so I kind of don't want to keep updating it. Alright guys, so the printer is on. That's probably why you could barely hear me. We're gonna go ahead and open up our brand new TPU. It's definitely got some flex to it. It actually doesn't seem too bad though. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of my PLA out of my machine, And I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here and then try to figure out this G-code file. Alright, so I figured while I was waiting, I would try to get the drivers and the program installed so that way I can connect to the computer. Because I've been wanting to do that, I kind of just want to print right from the computer. I don't want to have to, if I want to change move my printer or if I wanted to bring it somewhere else, I can save all the models I want right on an SD card, and then I could just bring that SD card with me and say I wanted to, you know, print out another shark or print out a GoPro mount. If I had my printer with me, I could just go ahead and put the SD card in and print it out just about anywhere. The problem I was having with this before was the Arduino license. It wasn't working. It wasn't downloading correctly. Maybe now I fixed it. I'm not too sure. But it did say that it downloaded correctly and it's ready to use now. So we're just pretty much waiting for that. And up here we do have not only a decent looking product, but a movable product. I did not know it did this. Try to stay steady because I want it to be as steady as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and push. And you see right there, it already started to lift. So if I actually bring it down so you can see the extruder and the distance between it, and make it as flat and level as possible. Okay, so here's the distance all the way across. Coming straight, and straight, and straight, and straight, and straight, and straight, hooks up. Alright guys, so the time is now just about 1 week and 1 day since I received my printer. My first successful print, which I just showed you guys, was my little shark. Yeah, he came out really cool. I'm pretty pleased with it. Unfortunately, I am out of PLA now. I have to buy some more. Just because I didn't plan to, but it's just fun to print with that. But I am gonna try this Sainsmart. And one thing I do like about this, I mean, hopefully some of the ones that I'm gonna be ordering come with some type of packaging or some type of little pamphlet that kind of lets you know. This one has it right on it. 1.75 millimeter, that's what I'm using. Temperature 200 to 220. I'll probably run it right around 210, maybe 205. I've got hope. I did try one print with it already, and because I couldn't change any settings, retraction was and get cured up, and that caused it. And I'm going to show you one of the models I plan on trying to print. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I might print out something else before that, something along the lines of like this, you know, something smaller that won't take 4 hours to print, only because I'm not going to be keeping an eye on it. I'm going to be going to bed, so we'll get Kira started up and I'll show you guys what I got. So some of the settings that I have gone through in here, I will tell you I pretty much found the perfect temperature for this TPU. At this moment I'm not printing in the perfect temperature because I haven't found it yet at this point in time.
so I was still messing around. This is bed temperature somewhere around 70 and extruder right at 210, which are super, super close to the perfect numbers. We don't have a huge mess here. Alright, so good luck. Thank you guys. Watch it. Keep it safe for me. Alright, here it is. First sexy thing I thought I'd print. It looks pretty good. Whoa. So here we have the bunny. Oh, that looks pretty good. I think it's actually supposed to be a phone holder, so that kind of worked out, but my phone's really, really heavy, so maybe not the best idea. I probably should have, checked some stuff before I actually did it. But hey, it works. So I mean, now we can go through and we can start tweaking and tuning settings to try to get it right where we want. On to the next one. Alright, so just a couple of things I wanted to show you about the printer real quick itself. Obviously I have not actually printed out a good TPU mount holder. So I have this wheel kind of working, but that's actually working in my favor. And I'll tell you guys why. For two reasons. The problems that I had with the extruder and the filament, with a couple of failed prints. So right now the way I have this set up is, this is actually holding a fair amount of tension kind of on the TPU being fed through the guide eye into the extruder. Now as you can see, I have that little clamp on there. This is the biggest and the smallest change I made. Exactly. Look, I actually have the last print still on there. That is the perfect print that came out right there. So as you can see, I changed just this little thing, and I went from this product, which, don't get me wrong, looks pretty decent, but it's nowhere near perfect. Not even close. You can kind of see like layer lines and mushy spots, to total perfection. I mean, it looks like I went over it with like a piece of tape and like it's like perfect, but I assure you it's not. Well, yes, it's perfect, but it didn't get going over with tape, aside from that little spot that did fail right there. So with my extruder, it seemed like the feed was going well for the print, but the speed of this was almost a little bit too fast. But I didn't want to tweak it. I just felt like it was a little too tight between the smooth guide eye here and the actual gear. So what I would do is, when it would get bound up, I would hold the pin open a little bit, I would hold the tension off, I would back feed it, pull some of the extra filament out, and then I would just let it feed back in slowly, and I would hold tension on it. And it was working, but I would have to hold this. So I said, hey, why don't I just try to clamp it on there a little bit, just so that way it takes a little bit of pressure off of the gear and the guide eye. And that was the biggest difference that I made, aside from, you know, dropping the temperature, because I played with the temperature quite a bit, but I did not get this at 215 before. I did not get this print. I tried 205, 210, 220. So I mean, you're gonna tell me a five degree difference really made that perfect of a print? I kind of doubt it, but it could have. The other difference is adding on all my little trinkets here. I mean, these guys really help out, just because the belt down here is not level. So if this actually slides to the side, it kind of goes up towards the corner. So for bigger prints, I actually have to push them a little bit to the left side of the bed. And if I want to print something long, I actually print it on this side right here, and I can only go about that length. A little bit of a downside. I guess I could try to print corner to corner if I wanted to get maximum distance, but that's going to be pushing a lot more out of all the electronics for movements and noise. It's not too bad though, it's pretty quiet. I really like this printer, especially for $129 and the quality that I can get from it. So last but not least, I will show you the Thingiverse files and Alright guys, so a little bit of an update now. I've had my printer for about 12 days, and so far I've actually been able to do pretty much everything I've wanted to do with it, and I feel as though I could probably get my settings tuned in a little bit better, but I am limited to the resources that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I got at the desk, some prints that I did make. Obviously you guys did see the little shark. This was a lot bigger. I scaled it down quite a bit to make it actual keychain size. I'll show you guys my prints that came out, the files, the STL files that I did get off Thingiverse, and I will show you some of my failed prints, which are actually not as bad as you think, and from a beginner, there's not as many as you would probably. So, starting right here, this is my first print that came out. This happened twice. It stopped printing exactly halfway through. That twice, hoping I would get different results. Nothing happened. This was just a print I stopped halfway, just because it kind of looked like it was screwing up and the bottom wasn't at the right temperature. So after these two failed, and then this one, I removed the SD card. That's where we get our first real print, the shark. And although, I mean, some of you will rag and you'll say that it, you know, it sucks and it looks like shit. But so after I got the shark, like I said, I wanted to move straight to TPU. That was the whole point of me getting the printer. So I did that, and it came out so-so. Once again, I tried printing the feet again, which I still never actually got to see what this really is. Never finished it. I'm using it as smooth surface for my filament going around in that styrofoam over there. So after the feet, I said, why am I going to print the same thing over again? I'll print this little bunny phone holder. And I'll put a time lapse of that right up here in the corner. And this came out pretty decent. Obviously, this was my first TPU print, so some of the layers didn't kind of set well together. You can kind of see that, like, that really nice smooth part right in the middle where the temperature, you hear what I just said, the temperature, yes, the temperature really changed the quality of the print. And I'll get to that in a second. So here's a failed one. This one, the extruder jammed up the filament, and when I came back into the room, because I don't sit there and watch these, by the way, when I came back into the room, the extruder was somewhere around this high, and that's what was there.
Next one, I actually had a problem with. I stopped right on the end right there, if you can see it. But the quality of this one was coming out pretty good. The only reason I stopped it was because my extruder was jamming again, and that is right around the time I decided to throw that clamp on there. And the difference between the clamp and no clamp was definitely a big result, because I kind of printed all this stuff. You guys can kind of see, you know, the YouTube ring. I did print a lot of this stuff in between my main prints. Model was screwed up, which I'm getting to right now, so it didn't actually say YouTube like it was supposed to. Then we have a little plow for a plow truck right here. This one did not have support, so it kind of fell apart right here. As you'll see, the one I have on there did have supports, so it held up a lot better, and that's just something fun I kind of mess around with, push shit around the desk. We have this little dragon right here, which I didn't... you guys can actually see. Look, here's some supports. I have regular line supports on there. He came out pretty nice. Unfortunately, part of his head did not finish setting in, and then his nose did also collapse in. But he looks pretty good, you know what I'm saying? Like, the quality of him that, you know, didn't get screwed up, that, to me, I mean, that's successful. I don't know about everybody else, but that's successful to me. I'm still a beginner, so. Now, GoPro mounts. Let's go down the line. The stringing that you see on this one is pretty much all throughout, all of them. That's because I did starting down the line. You can kind of see the quality of each one as they slowly progress. And obviously I didn't clean this one. I cleaned pretty much all the rest. Not 100%, but I just got them to a point where they look decent. I don't mind doing, you know, 10 minutes of cleanup or so. And this one obviously is not mine. This is Brain 3D. But this is what I kind of wanted to get to. And I kind of believe I did that. So, a couple of these are, I believe this is the Alien 33 degree. This is the version 1.3. You can find this on Thingiverse, or you can check down below. I'll leave a link down in the description. And this one comes out pretty nice. It comes out pretty well. I do print it with supports, and the only problem I have is a little bit right here in the center. Then again, if I was running Kira 4.1 and I could use those sweet tree supports, I probably wouldn't have that problem and all these fucking nasty lines going all over the place. So, what else are we talking about here? We're talking about temperature, right? See all these little, all the little imperfections, like on the actual outside of the print. You know, like it looks hairy. It looks messy. All of these were printed roughly at the same settings, which was a 0.2 layer height. There was only like one, I believe this one actually was printed at a 0.16 layer height. Everything else was at a 0.2. The speed varies roughly 20 to 25 milliseconds, nothing over 25. I don't really go down to 15. I don't feel like waiting 6.5 hours for a GoPro mount. I don't mind 2-3 hours, but that's about my limit. Maybe 5, I guess. If I'm going to sleep, I'll do that. I don't care, but with the TPU that I purchased, as I said, pretty much all of these are the same, except for the infill. The shell layers are all 0.8. The top and bottoms are all 1.2. The fill does vary somewhere between 50, 75, and 100%. These last two being 100%, which these are the strongest and these are very nice. Like I could still crush it and fold it, but between the last retain its shape, it will hold. I mean, can you see it already? Do you see like the shitty looking wavy lines and the ugliness all up here at the top where lines aren't setting in, and then you come over this and it's just a complete difference. And this one is a Thingiverse model as well. I don't think there's a name on this one, but you can see the quality right there, you know. So yeah, I am super stoked as a 3D beginner. Printing out models is pretty easy. Yeah, click, copy, paste, drag. Next step I want to try to do is create my own models, because I have a lot of ideas for a lot of different stuff that'll definitely be useful around the house, in the car, wherever. But this video is getting a little bit long now. I need to cut it short, so unfortunately that is going to be it for this one. I do plan on going ahead and doing the unboxing video that will be posted probably next. Once I get that finished, I'll put a link right here. That way it'll just pop up, boop, little card. And obviously I will put links to the printer and the TPU that I use. And in the next video I'll go over my settings a little bit more. As of right now, I'm just going to print out some more shit, and I'm going to possibly update this Kira and try to update it again and again to get to 4.1 where it runs correctly, because if I just click update to 4.1 and try to do it, it doesn't work for some reason. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys found that if you were in the possible market for a 3D printer and you were wondering about this TPU products and different things you could do with it, I would definitely say go ahead, do your research. I'm not saying go ahead and buy this one. This one's $130. You could get a much better option for like $180. I would say go with like an Ender 3. That seems to be a very popular and a very performing model. So I'd say go ahead, check that out, and leave a comment down below if you guys like what I'm doing, if you guys want to see some more, and if you guys want me to try to print something out. I'm definitely up to a challenge. We'll see what this printer can really do, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't you just love it? Preheating to our special temperatures here. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell Then you come over the desk. Oh, it's this. It's this. Love the smell of fresh TPU. Well, you already know. First thing we're doing, Gopro Mount.
So if you guys have made it here to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. I know it was a whole hour to get through. Hopefully I explained quite a bit about the printer and some of the tweaks that I kind of made that seemed to give me really great results with TPU anyway, and that's the main thing that I do want to print with. I do have some PLA on the way, and I do have some nylon filament, as well as I'm thinking about trying out a carbon fiber filament because my printer does go up to like 260. As you can see, I've printed out a bunch of fun little toys so far, and I plan on printing a bunch more. My next thing to test out is probably going to be miniatures and settings. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions for me down in the comments below. If you guys did like the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for future content. And as one of my favorite YouTubers says, I hope you guys have a fantastic day.